Hi there, and welcome to Apple World. Similar to how the show around Diddy's claims and sumptuous gatherings appears to calm down, Rodney Jones, otherwise called Lil Ro Jones, has reignited the show with another claim against Sean Diddy Brushes. This legitimate test comes from their joint effort on the Affection collection off the network documented in a New York government court. Jones blames searches for serious criminal behavior, including SA and Embroils brushes, as well as his child Justin Dior brushes and his group. This claim adds a new, disputable layer to the continuous story encompassing Diddy, so we should make a plunge. Rodney Jones, likewise referred to in the music business as Lil Ro Jones, has recorded a claim against Sean Diddy brushes originating from their work together on Com's Affection collection. During the period from September 2022 to November 2023, Jones created 9 melodies for the collection and lived with brushes in different areas, including Los Angeles, New York City, Miami, and, surprisingly, on a yacht in the U.S. Virgin Islands. This experience, Jones charges, presented him with ways of behaving in circumstances that far exceeded his expert obligations as a maker. The claim's subtleties are a progression of upsetting charges against Combs and his partners, upheld by witness explanations, video and sound accounts and pictures under Jones' control. These charges include offenses that Jones professes to have seen or been exposed to during his experience with brushes. The objection likewise specifies that Jones was frequently approached to record occasions and connections, bringing about broad proof to help his cases. I've been dealing with a collection. I went home for the year in a row dealing with this collection. That collection is the Affection collection off the Matrix by Diddy, and it's Grammy selected. Right now, presently, ought to be, celebrating, yet truly, I'm not taking this collection on has demanded such a lot of time, months and at a period 16 hours, 24 hours per day. In some cases you realize Diddy will demand specific attempts to be finished and tell us don't nod off until it's finished, and truly we'll be awake for days attempting to achieve that. I've attempted to get my business straight with them on this collection. Yet truly they're not playing fair. They hit me on disgraceful, on such countless circumstances. Simply managing this, it's the agreement that they get me. And the deal that they gave me was sickening, the maker feed pennies. And on top of that, these folks are attempting to take my distributing. I can't go for that. So I'm retaliating. He's a contender. Ho. Weaver, I will place in this battle. I got to do it for myself. My privileges, and in particular my children taking my distributing or taking it, is only I won't let happen. Doing what is happening isn't simple. Taking Puff to court and suing him isn't simple. I don't have the money that it will take to battle him in court, so I'm asking you to let me know whether you are assuming you are in need of help. The connection is in my profile to my GoFundMe, and the cash we go with will go towards my lawyer's expenses and to simply ensure I'm keeping my head above water. Jones' claim names Combs as well as ensnares individuals from his staff and a few partners in different claimed exercises. The suit plans to uncover these issues. Looking for responsibility for the activities depicted, this legitimate activity highlights the serious idea of the charges and the significance of tending to them within the general set of laws, and that is only a speedy outline of the claim. We should take a gander at a truly extraordinary second that occurred at a music camp run by Mr. Brushes at the Cupkeep Studio in Los Angeles. This piece of the story includes Mr. Combs, his child Justin, and Justin's companion, G, getting into a serious situation. They were there with different performers and individuals making music together one night. A major argument in the studio gushed out into a nearby bathroom. Rodney Jones was only several feet away when unexpected discharges broke out. The shock of potentially being hit made Jones truly terrified. After things calmed down, individuals were uncertain whether to go close to the bathroom when the entryway at long last opened. Mr. G and his child came out, leaving Mr. G hurt and draining on the floor while every other person was simply waiting around. Jones immediately went to help Mr. G, making an honest effort to stop the draining by pushing down on his injuries. Jones realized they needed help quickly, so he called for a rescue vehicle and assisted Mr. G with getting to it, even as Mr. Combs and his child immediately left the region. After all that quieted down, Mr. Brushes advised everybody to recount to the police an alternate story, saying Mr. G was harmed in a hit-and-run assault, not by anything that occurred inside. Jones didn't stop there. He's tracked down a few groups who saw what occurred and will discuss it, yet they're terrified of what Mr. Brushes could do. They've said they'll shout out, assuming the court asks them to. Jones additionally kept the garments he wore that day, which actually had Mr. G's blood on them and could demonstrate what truly happened. He even has photographs showing the wreck after the shooting, which could help demonstrate if Mr. Brushes or his child were behind it. This bundle of proof, alongside what the observers could say later, presents Jones' defense as more grounded. It shows how serious the shooting was, and the way that far some could go to conceal reality. This piece of the claim truly shows the risk of that evening, and that it is so critical to ensure everybody in question is considered dependable, adding to the story. Obviously, Mr. G's shooting didn't occur outside the studio, like Mr. Combs believed everybody should tell the police. Rather, everything went down just inside, where they were undeniably expected to make music. The camp had its own security group, yet they weren't working really hard. The way that Mr. Combs and his child could carry firearms into the studio without anybody halting them shows a major disappointment. The security should protect everybody, including Jones and the others there, to chip away at music, yet they let this perilous circumstance happen along these lines. Frightening occurrence, Jones has been going through a truly difficult stretch. He's presently managing PTSD, which implies he's often feeling exceptionally terrified or focused in any event. When there's no peril, he's likewise confronting extreme nervousness, feeling miserable and discouraged, and experiencing difficulty resting. Each of these amounts shows exactly how much the shooting and everything around it possessed hurt him genuinely as well as intellectually and sincerely, and that is only one segment of this claim. During his experience with Mr. Brushes, Rodney Jones confronted a progression of awkward and unwanted circumstances. Jones reports that Mr. Brushes acted improperly toward him, not regarding his own space. These occurrences weren't restricted to one spot. They occurred in different areas, counting New York, Florida, and the Virgin Islands. Jones was likewise invested in abnormal energy conditions, where he must be in a similar room while Mr. Brushes had no garments on. This made Jones, who values his own and has strict convictions, feel entirely awkward. He even attempted to communicate how he felt to Mr. Combs, head of staff, expecting some to get it or change anyway. The reaction he got was contemptuous, proposing that this conduct was simply an aspect of Mr. Combs' endeavors to make light of the reality of the circumstances, calling it a lively way of behaving. Yet for Jones, these activities were a long way from fun-loving or okay. Jones felt that this example of conduct was not just improper, but in addition, as part of a greater issue with how Mr. Brushes cooperates with others. He accepted that these activities were an endeavor to standardize conduct that was obviously unsuitable to him. This piece of his involvement in Mr. Brushes fundamentally affects him, adding to the general testing climate he wound up in while chipping away at the love collection. Next is when Rodney Jones shares how Mr. Brushes utilized his insight into Jones' expert esteem to impact him. Improperly, Jones admired Stevie J, a notable music maker and TV character who was likewise engaged with the creation of the Adoration Collection. Mr. Combs, mindful of this profound respect, endeavored to control Jones by introducing the music industry in a deceptive light, proposing that specific ways of behaving were normal among its experts. This included sharing unseemly substances with Stevie J, which was intended to control Jones' discernments and cause him to feel that specific activities were standardized in the business. Besides, Mr. Brushes made guarantees about propelling Jones' vocation in return for taking on specific ways of behaving, further taking advantage of Jones' goals and regard for industry figures like Stevie J. This present circumstance features an abuse of force and trust, planning to impact Jones in manners that were totally irrelevant to his expert turn of events or interests pushing ahead in the claim story. On a warm night of July 2, 2023, in California, an occasion occurred at Mr. Combs' home. This occasion was depicted as a posting party that assembled different people, including a remarkable R&B craftsman, JCMS, and different visitors. Among the participants were individuals whose presence would later turn into a disputed matter as the night started at 7:00 p.m. Mr. Combs had made plans for expansion visitors to join, which included experts for diversion. In the midst of the grown-up swarm, there were likewise more youthful participants, some of whom were under 16 and mixing in without their ages being checked. The party climate was improved with the serving of Dylan alcohol. It was proposed that this alcohol was for pleasure as well as having been changed, which raised worries among certain visitors. The confirmation of the time of more youthful participants was ignored, a detail that turned out to be progressively worrying as the night went on. Mr. Jones, a visitor at the party, wound up in a tight spot when he wished to leave. Subscribe Apple World for more videos.